What's up everybody, Tiankum here with Sew Yeah Quilting. Now, in today's tutorial, we are going to be using our own pre-cut here, the Vegas strips, which is a 6.5 inch strip pack to make this beautiful quilt you see behind me. Let's get started. Before we dive on deep into this, what is a Vegas strip? Simply is a pack of 20 to 21 strips that are 6.5 inches wide by the length of fabric. Why do we make this particular cut of fabric? It's because you can jumbify so many different quilts. We'll put a couple references here on screen of some of the other tutorials that we've made using these strip packs. We want to go a little bit more complex with this quilt here. So go ahead and open up your Vegas strip. And I've gone ahead and selected, also get that free sticker always. I've gone ahead and elected a Vegas strip here that has lots of colors here. But as you can imagine here, if you did this in just two-tone or just a couple of colors, it will come out amazing as well. The only thing you have to do is if you have a pack that has 21 pieces in it, you only need 20 of them for this project. So pick out whatever color that you don't want to be using today. I'm gonna go ahead and pick out this really soft pink here, and I'll pull that one out. But then the rest of these I will be using. Now, our next step to this is we're going to subcut down all of these pieces, or all of these Vegas strips here. We're going to subcut these pieces down to 3.5 inches wide by 6 inches long. Super easy to do here. I'm going to just show you a couple. We are looking to get 240 of these little rectangles here. So I'm going to go ahead and layer some of these up, and I would go with about 3 pieces of fabric, and I'm doubling mine up, so that would make it be 6 layers in total there. As always guys, make sure you're using a brand new rotary cutter or rotary cutter blade. I'm gonna subcut these things down. And guys, just in a couple of minutes, I've gone ahead and cut out 3 different colors of red here, and to subcut this whole thing will only take a couple minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll be right back. Now that we've got all the dicing done as far as our Vegas strips go, you're gonna wanna make sure that you've separated these into their color order, because we're only gonna be working with one color at a time. But with that, we need to go over to the quilt so I can explain what our next steps are. As you can see here on the quilt, each color set is sticking together, so we wanna make sure we keep our colors separate here. And not only that, it is a really long quilt block. So it goes from the top to the bottom here, but this is the actual quilt block itself, which then we just invert it for the next side, just turn it around, and we keep doing that over and over and over again, which gives us this beautiful pattern. Now that we've cut these into 3.5 by 6.5 inch pieces, what I'd like to do now is introduce another piece of fabric, which is the only other piece of fabric that you're gonna be needed to make this quilt block, which are just some white squares. These squares are cut to be 3.5 by 3.5 inches square. We're going to need roughly 480 of these little squares here to match our 240 rectangles. From here, it is now time to start sewing, and we're actually going to start constructing these blocks. What we have to do is explain just a little concept to you guys here, in that we have left and right rectangles here. What I mean by that, if you look at this block right here, you can tell that the stripe is going from the bottom right to the top left, and on the other side, it's going from the bottom left to the top right. Now to achieve that, it's super easy to do. We just have to make sure we're doing it equally on every color that we're doing. What I mean by that is if you're working on these green pieces here, you have to have equal left and right blocks. If you're working on the yellow, same thing, so on and so forth. Super easy to do, and I'm gonna show you the trick that I use personally to achieve this. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place a block here, and I'm going to mirror that same thing on the other side. What I do is I grab my ruler, and I'm going to mark them from the top left to the bottom right. On the other side, since I can visually see everything here, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm gonna go ahead and sew both of those. And I'm sewing directly on that red line there. So this ensures me that I have my 2 angles going in opposite directions here. I like to cut my pieces off, my snowball pieces, with a ruler, just that way I know it is dead accurate. And now this piece right here, or my offcut, I even like to save these, sew them right together right when they come off. Which will give me a scrappy half square triangle quilt. And since I'm gonna end up with about 400 of those anyways, I might as well make a little baby blanket or something like that. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and cut off this edge as well. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat the exact same step, but with the exact same angle as well. And put it up against the corner like so. And I'm going to mark using the same angles that I already have here. And I know this one's going this way. Oops. See, that's why I'm a visual person. It's really easy to see the mistakes in a block like this. And now I'm going to sew them right on that line again, and which will give us our finished rectangle that we need. Use my ruler again for the last time on this little rectangle here. And guys, I'm gonna make a bunch of these things up, but I just want to show everyone kind of what we're doing here. So we can see now they are exactly the same, but mirror images of each other. So at this point, I'm gonna make up a bunch of these, go ahead and iron them out, and we'll be right there. So I got ahead and make a bunch of these, and I'm gonna go ahead and start ironing them out. I like to use starch at this moment in time. You don't have to. And I'm always gonna be ironing to the dark side on this one. So guys, now that we've gone ahead and made up our little teeny rectangles here, and they're looking great, it's time to make the finished block here. All we're gonna do is take two of these, put them side by side, and we're essentially going to make a flying geese block right here. And we're gonna just keep repeating this process over and over again until we have our desired look of our block. So kind of voila here, right? You guys can see our finished block taking shape. Now, a couple of pro tips here for you is first, what I like to do is I like to just take them, sew them end to end, like so. Just keep sewing these end to end, end to end, end to end, end to end. And then I put my rows together like I would treat a quilt top. Now, the reason why I like to do this personally is that if we sewed all the right side together like this, and sewed all the left side together like this, and we weren't able to get all of these pieces lined up together, we'll have triangles in the center that look like this, which is a very easy thing to spot out. So what I always like to do is take the shortest seam here and make sure my points are really well done together, and then I'll put down my rows. And we can chain piece this. What I've done here is I've gone ahead and chain pieced all my pieces together. Now, you don't have to do this at home. You can take this right back to the iron board and iron this out. But since I starched this, I can pretty much just fold this fabric over on top of itself and give it a really good finger press. Just gonna keep giving that finger press all the way down. And then it's gonna keep all my blocks in order as well, which is awesome because it's been chain pieced. And what I'm going to do, because all of my center lines have been sewn together, essentially, I'm gonna just flip it right over the top of itself. So I naturally want to line up with the roll beneath it because they're attached together with that center seam. And I'm going to literally just take this to my sewing machine, sew this roll. Wow, I cannot speak today. Sew my very first row, and then just fold down to the next one, next one, next one, next one. And so by the end of this, it'll be a finished block that all I have to do is iron out. Again, I'm going to just take this, fold it over itself, and repeat all these steps all the way through. But if you're a person that just can't trust the system, do it the normal way that you would always do it. There's not really a way to check if you're doing this right. You'll just have to have already pre-planned for it. So, looks awesome. I'm gonna now give it a nice good spray with starch and iron this whole thing out. So guys, at this point, now that I've ironed this out, we have our finished quilt block here. Super easy to do and doesn't take that much time. Between the cutting and sewing on each block, it really is a fun, easy block to make. Now, as far as the construction of this quilt itself, what we did on ours, we alternated our blocks, meaning that we had one kind of pointing this direction. The block right next to it would alternate and point the opposite direction, because it gives us this illusion where we have these kind of candy cane stripes throughout. On top of that, you got your flying geese block that's making here, and the diamond and the X block as well. So due to just the way that this lays out, it gives you a lot of cool variants in the same quilt, making everyone think that's much harder than just a simple rectangle. Not only that, guys, if you want to, you can absolutely put them end to end, which gives you flying geese all the way down and all the way up and then all the way back down again. It is 100% up to you at that point. But as always, guys, down in the description below, we have a free PDF download of the instructions of this, also the assembly of the quilt as well. And while you're down there, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't be afraid to share it with your friends. Not only that, if you're looking to pick up some Vegas strips for yourself, down in the description is our website, sewyeahquilting.com, where you can get yourself some brand new Vegas strips. We are offering so many different varieties now in Vegas strips, and what I love about Vegas strips in particular too, is since we're cutting them here in-house, we are now having Vegas strips in collections that never had pre-cuts to begin with, so we're super excited about that. And with that, thank you so much for watching this week's video. We hope you enjoyed, and my name's Tianka. I'm teaching you how to sew like a pro. We'll see you here next week at Sew Yeah Quilting.